Okay, it seems I'm live. Awesome. Great. So we went early live again. So we were supposed to go live at 7, but then we got this habit of going live early so that everyone can join because it takes some time for YouTube to send the notification. So let's wait for YouTube to send notification and people to join. And today we are going to start with Menti. So basically we'll start with a quiz so that we can recap whatever we have learned till now, and then we'll move towards the session. How's the Josh? Awesome. So the Rawal brothers are playing a game here. How's the Josh? Hi. Cool. Okay, I guess YouTube has not sent the notification yet. So let me in the chat window if you have received the notification from YouTube or you knew that you were supposed to join at 7 and then you have joined. So let me know why you have joined. Is it because of the notification? Is it because of the time you were knowing? Or is it because of you are just chilling on YouTube, you saw a thumbnail and you clicked on it? Okay, Jose is saying, I got a call from Aniron, super excited for the hackathon. Oh, that's awesome. Cool. Okay, most of you are saying notification. That's good. So YouTube is sending notification. In case if you have not received the notification, you have to make sure that you have subscribed and also clicked on the bell icon. That's very important. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll start with the Menti first. And then, okay, just see you are online. Okay, great. Awesome. Cool. So now what I will do is let me share my screen and let's start the game Menti so that we can finish that quickly so that we can focus on the main topic. So again, welcome back everyone to the blockchain live session. So basically we are learning here how to build application on the Ethereum network or Ethereum blockchain with the help of Solidity programming language. And I'm preparing you here to participate in the hackathon. So Okay, so Lokesh is asking what we are learning today. I have no idea. So basically, we are going to build. We are basically learning this language called Solidity so that we can build an application, and that's what we are going to do today itself. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen, and I hope you can see my screen. This is how you join the Menti. So if you want to play this game, this is also good for recapping whatever we have learned in the last session. So do join this Menti. So you can just go to menti.com and mention the code, or you can just scan the QR code. So you can see on your right hand side, we have a QR code. On the left hand side, we have so here we have the number. So this is menti.com. And also you have a number here, mention this number in the app or in the browser. Or you can also join if you are so lazy to pick up your phone, scan it. Let me just paste the link. So you can access this link as well. Okay, Gaurav is saying Sunday Java class timing has been changed. No, it is still same. It is 9 to 1 or 9 to 12. There's no change in the Sunday live sessions or whatever enroll Java course we have. There might be a change for the no, there's no change for the timing. We have doubt solving sessions happening during the weekdays and that to the night time. Okay, awesome. So I can see a lot of people have joined. So let's start the game in next 30 seconds. And I'm just waiting for everyone to join. So the questions are based on blockchain, whatever we have learned till now. So it will be easier for you to answer. See, hackathon problem statement, Suyash, it can be anything. You have to build an application with the help of blockchain. You can use any blockchain technology or any blockchain ecosystem, basically. But then you will be getting 24 hours to explore that, right? So even if you know the basics, you can still join. And I know it's not about how much you know. It's about do you know the basics? That is enough. Once you know the basics, you can just come there, participate. Even if you don't win, you will learn a lot in that 24 hours of hackathon. Okay, cool. So I go out for 2 hours during the hackathon. Yes, you can, but then you'll be losing your time, right? You can go out. Okay, cool. So let's start with the Menti, and here we go. The first question, everyone, coming on your screen. Here we go. So the first question, of course, this is not a part of a quiz. Just want to know: have you registered for the blockchain hackathon yet? Okay, so majority of you are saying no. What you're waiting for? Okay, so only three says yes, but then we got enough registration. They're not watching this live, maybe. Okay, so no, let me know in the chat window why you're not thinking about coming for the hackathon. I just want to understand what will motivate you to be a part of upcoming hackathons. Okay, do we get stickers there? We'll see. You will get hoodies, you will get t-shirts. Okay, how to register? So you can find, so three people are saying how to register. You can find a link in description. There's a link for the website and for the registration. There's no registration charges, it's free. I just want to give you a good experience of the hackathon, and that's what I'm requesting here. Okay, Shubham is saying tomorrow there's a live class in full stack blockchain. No, the live class for blockchain, which is the course, is starting from 23rd of July. Okay. Now, no one told no one told me about it. Okay, so basically on 23rd of July, we are arranging an hackathon. We are hosting an hackathon. It is a blockchain hackathon. Okay, so basically in this hackathon, you will get a problem statement and you have to work on that for 24 hours. And then the winners will get cash prize, 2 lakh for the first winner, 1 lakh rupees for second winner, and 50,000 rupees for the third winner. And apart from this, there are other goodies as well. You will get all the information if you check the link in description. No, there's no remote option. It's offline hackathon. Cool. So now you know how to register, so you can enroll there. Now, everyone else, if you want to join this Menti, it's very simple. Go to menti.com and mention this code. Otherwise, you can join this with the help of the link which I'm sharing in the chat. Cool. So here we go. We are going for our So this is saying is hackathon for experienced person. Anyone can join, even if you're a fresher, if you're experienced. Of course, with experience, you can win the event. But even if you're a fresher, you can come there to learn, to understand what is hackathon, how do you build application on blockchain, and you can meet us, right? So in fact, we are excited to meet you, everyone. So we'll be having Saurabh Shukla, Navin Reddy, Hitesh Chaudhary, Krish Nayak, Sudhanshu Kumar, Sridhar. Everyone will be there on the floor on that day. Okay, can we come over there if I don't have partners? Yes, even one person. And so there's member limit is 1 to 4. So you can come alone as well, solo as well. Okay, here we go. Next question coming on your screen. Now, this is actual quiz, not a quiz, but then just to revise the concept. Now, blockchain is also referred to as, so what else it is referred to? Okay, so majority of you are saying first option, then we got a second option. Okay, 7 people are still voting for that. So I'm just waiting everyone to complete this. Okay, Advait is asking where in Bangalore. Yeah, it's in Bangalore. If you can check the address in the description, the location is also mentioned. Cool. So, okay, majority of you are saying it is distributed ledger technology, and that is correct. So even if you define blockchain, it is basically a distributed ledger technology. So you maintain the ledger as a distributed way. Cool. Let's go for the next question. Which technologies does the blockchain use? Okay, so we got most of the votes for all of the above, and that is correct. So basically, in the blockchain, we use asymmetric cryptography. We also use cryptographic hash for the hashing, and we also have peer-to-peer networking because we don't have a central server in between. Cool. That is good. Okay, next question coming on your screen, everyone. And here we go. Okay, again, if you want to join Menti, you can just scan the QR code, and you can, otherwise you can just also go to menti.com and mention the code. So next question. What does DApp mean? So, in the course, we are going to talk about a lot of multiple times we'll talk about DApp. So what exactly DApp stands for? Rohit, you will get the notification or the confirmation by Monday. So we were able to confirm few today, and remaining participants or remaining registration will get the confirmation by Monday. Okay, so majority of you are saying it is decentralized application, and that is correct. Good job. Okay, is it possible to make DApp using Java? Yes, there are some ecosystem which supports Java language as well. And even if you look at Solidity programming, it looks more of Java, right? In fact, we'll see that today. Okay, next question. Okay, Karthik says, I've just received the call from Inuron. Oh, that's great. Okay, which programming language is widely used to build smart contracts on Ethereum? Okay, Praveen Kumar is saying, is blockchain hype or real? See, I'm teaching you blockchain technology. Do you think I will teach something which is not real? Akshay is asking any role of Node.js in blockchain. Yes, in fact, JavaScript is very famous in the world of blockchain. And sometimes you need to, in fact, most of the time you have to work with Node.js. So majority of you are saying Solidity, and that is correct. So basically, as the course as well, we are using Solidity to work it on Ethereum. Okay, next question. Okay, you have joined the Menti, I guess. Otherwise, you can just scan the QR code, you can join. Next question. What is the extension of the Solidity language? So basically, which extension we use there? Okay, is it SL, SOL, Soli, or S? Then it can be quite confusing sometimes. Okay, so majority of you are saying .sol, and that is correct. So basically, whenever you create a Solidity file, the extension would be .sol. Okay, next question. Which consensus is used to validate the transaction on the current Ethereum blockchain? Okay, so majority votes are going for proof of work. Cool. Okay, so we'll wait for 5 more seconds and then we'll answer. What's the correct answer here? Okay, Alfred is asking, should I go for DSA or Web3? You have to learn both. If you're thinking about web development or Web3 development, you have to learn both. In fact, the basics of DSA will be enough for any kind of work. That's right. Now, the answer for this question is proof of work. So the current Ethereum is working on POW, which is proof of work. But then in Ethereum 2.0, we are moving away from proof of work to proof of stake. Okay, now what's the difference between these two? So basically, whenever you talk about Ethereum blockchain or Bitcoin blockchain, every time you do a transaction, that becomes a part of a block. Now, this block is actually created by, or this block is getting added to the blockchain by the miners. Okay, so in the current ecosystem or the current Ethereum, we still have miners who solve a puzzle to get that opportunity to do that. So basically, we use miners and then they solve a puzzle which takes a lot of time, a lot of electricity as well. So the consensus is called proof of work, but then we are moving away from it to proof of stake in Ethereum 2.0. Okay, question from Vinayak. Course starting dates, sir. So the blockchain course is starting from 23rd of July. That's right, next week. There's just 1 week left for the blockchain course. I can't believe. Waiting for it. Okay, next question. Which unit is paid to the miners to validate the transaction? So basically, this is specific to Ethereum. What do we use there? Vivek is asking, do we need to create a UI during the hackathon? Might be basic UI will be good. You don't have to build something very amazing, basic UI, but then important thing is the backend, how it is working. So your blockchain implementation will be important. Okay, so majority of you are saying gas, and that is correct. So in the Ethereum, you pay the transaction fee with the help of gas. Uh, okay, one person saying USD, no, we don't do that. Bitcoin is for the Bitcoin network. For the Ethereum, we use gas. And I guess, okay, we have one more question. What is the outcome of the compiled Solidity code? So when you compile Solidity code, what you get? Do you get the machine code? Do you get the byte code? Do you get the JavaScript code? Or none of the above? Okay, Suresh is asking apart from Solidity. So see, if you want to learn blockchain, if you want to follow this playlist, you have to make sure that you have watched my blockchain basic videos. You will find the link of that video in the description. So it should say blockchain basics and there should be a link. Use that, you will understand the basics of blockchain. Okay, cool. So majority of you are saying bytecode, and that is correct. So every time you compile your Solidity code, it gets converted into a bytecode. And then you run that bytecode on EVM, which is Ethereum virtual machine. Yes, blockchain for life. True. And that's the end of the Menti. So let me know in the chat if you enjoy all the Mentis and hit that like button. We are about to cross 100 likes. Okay, so with that, let's start with the actual code. Now, whatever we have done till now was quite simple, right? We have talked about a lot of stuff, but before that, let me just do some setting to this window here. Okay, we got a new member, Shantan Reddy. Thank you so much, Shantan, for joining the Telescope channel. Okay, Diksha is asking, so there's Jobathon during the blockchain hackathon. So we are going to hire blockchain developers during the hackathon, and you don't need to be expert in blockchain to get hired. So you should be excited for blockchain. You should be knowing at least JavaScript or any other language, maybe Java or Java and JavaScript. So if you know these two languages, you will be hired, provided you are excited about blockchain. Okay, cool. So now let's continue with this example and we'll do something else today. Okay, now what we have done till now is we were able to create a simple contract and then we were able to create some variables as well. Now, when you talk about variables, we have different data types which we can use for the variables. Of course, it's not a full-fledged course, so we'll not be covering all the data types. We are going to cover the important ones or which we are going to use in this course. So let me move myself to another end. This looks good. Okay, cool. So what I will do now is let me talk about certain things, certain data types. So basically, whenever you create a variable, you have to also specify the type of the variable, right? Now, the type can be integer type where you can have integer range. It can be uint. I know that. I'm not sure how that looks like. So it can be uint as well. The difference between int and uint is in int, you can store negative values as well. And inside uint, you can store positive values, which is unsigned integers. Now, which is getting used a lot. So in the normal programming language, Java, C, C++, what you do is you use int there, right? Because a number can be anything. But when it comes to blockchain or Ethereum specifically, most of the use cases are for currencies or some counter. So in that case, uint is getting used a lot because currency cannot be negative, right? But then if it depends upon the application, what you want to use, it can be int, it can be uint, depending on the type of number you want to store. Now it can also be Boolean. So if you want to store a Boolean value, example true or false, you can use Boolean there. And it can also be, you can also store string. So what if you have a string value? You want to store the name or a product name or something like that. So in that case, you can use string. Then we also have arrays as different complex data type. We can also have enum there. But today we are going to focus on the first four. We'll not be focusing on array or enum. Let's focus on this data type so that we can do something with it. In fact, inside this as well, you can specify the exact size. Something like uint 8 or uint 16. So we have the table of 8, which goes till uint 256. So that's the last size we have. Okay. So what I will do now is I will go back to my screen. Okay. So let's do our code here. So what we want to achieve today is, let's again go with the same thing. I'm not sure if we talked about getters and setters in the last session. I guess we have done. So let me know in the chat window if we have talked about the variable and get set methods for it. But still we'll do it again. So let's say I want to create a variable, a very simple one. I want to create a variable which is num. Okay, a simple contract, hello world, and in which we are saying int num. Now, if you want to work with this particular, here's a font size in general. Yeah. So if you want to work with this specifically num variable, what we need to do is we need to deploy it on, in fact, we have to first compile this. So the moment you say save, it will be auto-compiled because we have checked auto-compile here. This is a tab which we have to use. And then you need to click on this tab for the deployment. Now, if you can see, we have multiple accounts there. So today we can also use MetaMask for this. Let's use MetaMask today. So instead of using JavaScript VM, which is a VM for in the browser, let's use MetaMask. Now, if you want to use external wallet, you can use injected Web3. You can see we have an option here. So click on this and it will open the MetaMask. And the weird thing is, I can't remember the password. What is my password for MetaMask? Good. Very good job. Oh, it worked. Cool. So you can see we have only one account here, which is Rinkybeat Test Network, and it is connecting. Is it connected? Yeah. So you can see we have Rinkybeat here, and then we can click on, so we got injected Web3. You can see it is now detecting the Rinkybeat network, which is Rinkybeat 4. And then in that, I have only one account, and the number of ethers or number of ETH I have is 1.7999, and then it list goes on. So this is, we have the account here. Now, of course, we don't have 100 ethers. We only got limited because we are using a test network. Before this, I was using my local environment, but now we are using the test network. The next thing you have to mention is which contract you want to deploy. So we only have one contract as of now, which is Hello World. We are doing that. And click on deploy. So every time you deploy, every time you change something on the network, or if you change the state of the variable, you have to pay a fee. So that's why when you click on deploy there, it will again give a pop-up for the MetaMask, because every time you do a transaction, it will charge you a fee, and that's what it says here. You can see the moment you click on deploy it, we have to pay a fee. Now, how much fee we are paying here? So you can see it will change depending upon the current price of the Ethereum. And we are basically paying 0.000168 ETH. Okay. And in this, so this is your gas fee. Okay, that's your gas fee. And then every time you do something, every transaction will have some complexity, right? Sometimes you have a very simple operation like adding two numbers. Sometimes it can be a complex operation. Sometimes it can be like deploying the project. It will be very complex operation. So that complex operation will be applied as well. So that your gas fee into the complex number of units you're consuming. So we are ultimately paying this amount for this transaction. Okay, and this looks good. Any data we are sending? No, okay, hash code only. And then confirm. Now, once you confirm that, this will be deployed to the Rinkybeat network, and we can check that on the Etherscan. So every time you deploy as well, you have to pay a fee for it. So you can see it is still not deployed. It is still in pending state. And what we have done is we have creating a contract. So you can see that's why we have the two address. And this is your address. I mean, this is my address because I'm deploying the contract. Okay, let's refresh this once again. Okay, so now it is successful. You can see we got this, our block code, and also the amount we paid. So the actual gas fee is here. You can see this is a gas fee, and number of units we have used is this. So this is the number of units. In fact, you can multiply these two numbers. So this number and this number will give you this particular number here. Okay. Cool. Okay, Venkata is asking, hi sir, is 6 months blockchain program completely taught by you? See, for the course, the blockchain full stack blockchain course, majority of the content will be taken by me, so I'll be your lead instructor. But there are certain topics which I need some other help, and that's why we have other trainers as well. But I'll be your lead instructor there. Cool. So you can see we got this deployed, and now once it is deployed, which you can see here, And since we don't have any functions or any variable, we do have a variable, but this variable is not public. So the only way to access this particular num is if you make it public. Okay. Again, the only thing is every time you do that, you need to redeploy. Every time you make a change, compile it and redeploy. Every time you redeploy, it will pop up MetaMask. Click confirm, and then you will get your new contract ready. And you can see the moment you make it public, you can actually see a button here. So basically, behind the scene, your smart contract, your compiler is creating a get method for this particular variable num here. So when you say click on that, you will see you got 0. But what if I want to change the values here? Of course, you can use a set method or something else. I just want to create a method which is update. So I will say public, oh no public. I'm just still into Java phase. So I can say function update, and you have to pass a value for the update here. What value I will pass? Again, I will pass uint or integer. I will do right integer, and then I'm passing. So if you want to pass a local variable, put underscore there, and done. Okay. Now, if you want to access this, you have to make it public as well. So that's public. Okay. Now, once you have created this method and you are saying it public, I mean, a function basically, how do I assign the value? It's very simple. You can simply say, in fact, instead of passing a value, we can do one more thing. Let's not pass the value. Every time you say update, I want to change it by 10. So I can say num is equal to num plus 10. So we are updating the value by 10. So we are taking the initial num value, and by default, the value for integer will be 0. So if you click on the update for the first time, it will be 0 plus 10, which is of course 10, and the 10 will be assigned to num, and then you can click on num to get the recent value. Now what I will do again is, let me just go back to local deployment, because again, I have to open MetaMask. It will consume a lot of time. Or maybe let's do this for this example. So let's use inject web3 and click on, before that, I will also delete all the other contracts I have. Click on deploy. Okay, it's going to MetaMask, and of course, it will charge you more this time because you have more things in the smart contract. You have some complex operation here. So now click on confirm. And you can see it is deployed. Is it deployed? Okay, it's taking some time. You can see it says pending. And done. Deployment done. If you can expand this, you got 2 buttons now. Now, if you say num, you can see we got 0 value. But every time you say update, now, what do you think? If I click on update, will I get the MetaMask pop-up? Tell me let me know in the chat. By the time I will answer your question. Okay, Lokesh is asking how to join the course. Is it free or what basic? Okay, so if you want to join the full stack blockchain course, there is no prerequisite, but of course that's a paid course. The thing which we are doing on YouTube now is to learn Solidity so that you can build applications in the hackathon. Okay. So you are saying yes, right? It will charge here. So let's click on update, and again the MetaMask popped up. It is asking me to pay the fee. I'm just doing that. Okay, and then it will take some time, I guess. Yeah, done. You can see it takes some time for the update, and click on num now. You can see we got 10. Every time you click on update, look at the gas price. The gas price is approximately something like 4 zeros and 66. Remember this number? I will click on confirm. Click on get. Okay, still not updated. Get. Okay. It will take some time for the update. Okay, you can see we got 20. Great. So now if I click on update again and just look at the price, it's almost same, right? The price is 66, 000066. Cool. If I close this, you can see it will also give you an error. It says user denied transaction signature. That means user actually denied the signature as well as giving money. That's what we do when you try to buy something on Amazon, right? You just go to the payout checkout page, and then you say, okay, no, the amount is big. And the same thing is happening with the course as well, I guess. You're going to the course page and then, okay, doesn't matter. Okay, Navin is asking, is the course enough? Have you looked at the course content? If you can learn that, if you can understand everything or most of it, everyone will be hiring you. Okay, so now what I will do is remember the cost, right? It is 4 zeros and 6 6. There might be slight change based on the gas price, but what if, see, to add two I mean to update a number, we can use this operation, right? But there's one more important thing. When you do the normal programming in the web 2, or maybe when you learn a language like Python, Java, C, C++, what you do is you say, hey, if I want to update a number, I can do this way. Or what if I can just keep adding one multiple times? Example, something like this. Let me use a for loop here. And that's right. We can use the same for loop which we do in normal programming languages. Look at the syntax and you will understand. So what if I just use for int equal to 1 and I less than equal to 10 and I plus plus. So what if I do this, instead of num equal to num plus 10, I can say num plus plus. See, both this statement will give the same output. Even if you run a for loop or even if you do this, it will give you the same output. So which one you are going to use? Can we use this one or should we use this one? Let me remove this part. And of course, the output will be same. And to do that, what I will do is I will just redeploy this code once again. Save, deploy. Of course, it will take some time for the deployment. And confirm. So that charges for deployment, not for the done. Okay, deployment done. And now, once it is deployed, go back here, click on num, you can see the value of 0. But if you say update, now look at the transaction cost. It's almost double. Can you see that? Initially it was 4066 and now you are paying extra. And this is important, right? So when I say, whenever you learn normal language, when we say this is very, it's the function is very costly, and then you actually don't pay to do that in normal environment, right? When you use, um, when we use Java, when we use Python, we don't actually think about, we don't pay for the executing something. But here, if you do this type of code, it's actually costly. So the more complex your code is, for a simple thing, it will charge you more. So it's very important for the blockchain developer to write a code which is efficient, which will charge you less. Basically, don't write any extra line, which will cost you more. But again, let's say update and click on confirm. Yes, I want to pay extra just to do the same thing. That's why since we have more iterations here, it will take more time. It will take more computing power. And confirm. Okay, click on num. Okay, it will take some time because it is still happening. You can see we got it. Okay, did I do it 2 times? Maybe. So you can see we got the update. We got the new value. Is it making sense, everyone? Okay. Come on, if you're enjoying this session, hit that like button, everyone. What are the prerequisites for this course? You're talking about the blockchain course, which is there. It's there's no prerequisite. If you know basics of computers, what is computer, what is hard drive, what is network, you're good to go. Okay, cool. So this looks cool, right? Now let's write another code here, and this time let's try to explore some other things as well. See, apart from this for loop, you can also use while loop. You can use do while loop. Even if else works in the same way. Example, let's say if you want to put a condition here, so it should increment only if some other variable, we have some other variable here which is int public, okay, let's say n for that matter, and the value for n is, let's say, 9. So what you can do is you can check if the value of n is less than 20, then only increment. So the same if condition or if else you use in normal programming language, we have the same thing. And that's why, if you know Java, it's always better to learn other languages. So all the Java developers, give a thumbs up in the chat window if you think this is almost similar. Okay. Nice. Okay, so let's close this and let's work with some other contract. So let me just close this particular contract here. Go back to our files. Now let's understand the concept of, let's talk about constructor. So what I will do now is I will just go back to my contracts, and here let me create one more contract, and we'll name this contract as alien. And you can see by default the extension is .sol. Okay, and here, of course, the first line should be pragma, but just to keep it simple, I'm not writing anything. I'm not specifying the license. I'm not writing pragma. What I'm doing is I'm creating a simple contract. And in one project, you can have multiple contracts, and that actually makes sense, right? So let me create another contract, which is alien here. And in this particular contract, what I will do is I will create some variables. Or maybe I will just create two variables, both of type, okay, one of type integer. So I will say int id. And next one is, what should I write? Let's say string project, or maybe string name. So let's say we have these two. Okay. Cool. So we have these two things, right? We have int id and name. Now the thing is, on purpose, I'm not writing public here. Right now, go back to the concept of OOPS. Now, in the concept of OOPS or object-oriented programming, we have some concepts, right? We have a concept like, let me write it here. So we have different concepts. One of the concept is class. Now, basically, we are actually creating classes here in Solidity as well, but then we do that with the help of contract. So every time I write a contract, imagine that is a class, right? Next, we have a concept of object. So every time you deploy your contract, you're basically creating an object of it. And you can create multiple objects for that matter. Then we have a concept of encapsulation. So in Java as well, or in C++, or maybe C# or maybe Python, you have the same concept. Now we have a concept of encapsulation. Encapsulation simply means that your variables, whenever you create a class, or maybe whenever you create a contract, let's say you have an alien contract. Alien contract will have two things. It will have variables and it will have functions, right? So you have to make sure that your variables are actually private. So always make your variables as private, and you can keep your functions as public. So the only way to access your variables is through functions. So in encapsulation, make sure that all your variables are private, and then you should be able to access them with the help of function. Then we have a concept of inheritance. Now, of course, the same thing is applicable in contract as well. So one particular contract can extend another contract, or not extend, but inherit. Example, let's say if I create a contract of human. So this is one contract. Let's say this is contract 1. And then I'm creating another contract here. Let's say a driver. So when you say driver, teacher, programmer, they all are inheriting human, right? So basically, in Solidity, we use a keyword called is. A driver is a human, right? In Java, we use a keyword like extends. In Solidity, we use is keyword for the inheritance. In Solidity, we can also achieve abstraction with the help of abstract keyword. We also have a concept of interfaces. We also have a concept of polymorphism, right? Polymorphism. And that's why if you know one language, it is easier to learn other languages. Cool. So we can do the same thing here. So we are basically focusing on encapsulation, where we are saying always keep your variables private, even if you don't mention you can't access it outside. So what I will do is I will just keep it default, and the way to access them is with the help of get methods and set methods. So I will say get ID, and this will return me the type returns of type int because it will return a value. And then here I will say return ID. I also need a set function for this. I will say function set ID. It will accept an integer value int underscore ID, and I want this to be public. Your functions can be public. Okay, how to improve logic in programming? Keep programming, keep practicing. That's how we do it. So I will say ID is equal to ID. So basically, if you want to assign values to this ID, you have to set the value. If you want to get the value, you have to say get ID. This is a function you have to call. The same thing I want to do it for the name. So I will just come back here and paste. Instead of saying get ID, I will say get name. It will return a value of type string. And here I will return a name. Now observe, I'll be doing something which will generate an error. So just focus here. And then I want this to be name is equal to underscore name. Now, if you can see, it will generate an error here. Okay, you can see we got an error here. Now look at the error so observe the error here. It says data location must be memory or call data for parameter in function. Again, it's a very lengthy topic to talk about the type of storage we have. But see, every time you create a variable like this, which is your state variable. So when you declare a variable outside the function, it is a state variable, and that will go inside your storage area or storage memory. Now, why this is important is because whatever you mention here actually goes to the blockchain. It will be stored there, right? But then this type of variables which I'm creating here, which is name and ID, I don't want this to go inside the blockchain. I want this to be temporary. So we can keep that in a memory. Now we don't have to actually mention that explicitly for integers, but for string, we have to mention that this will be a part of a memory. This is a temporary memory, which will not be stored on the blockchain. Okay, Black is asking what happened to Java course. We are doing this alternate days, right? I'm not sure if you're following the channel. We're doing one day we are doing Java, one day we are doing blockchain. Cool. So remember this keyword, we have to use memory when we use string parameter. In the same way, we need to mention memory here as well. Awesome. And done. There are still warnings here. Warning is for, oh, so when you fetch a value, it's always meant, it's good to use view here if you don't want to get charged for your transaction. So when you say get methods, always say view. Okay, now very good question. And even I wonder, Puneet is asking, how do you remember syntax of multiple languages? I don't, So at this point, if you ask me, hey, write a code in Python, maybe I will not be able to do it. It's very difficult to remember multiple languages. If I'm not into it for a long time, I will forgot the syntax. For Java, I'm doing this for a long time, so I remember Solidity since I'm into development of blockchain now, so I remember Solidity. But if you talk about Python, I don't remember the syntax perfectly. Kotlin, again, the same thing. I don't remember the syntax perfectly. So you just have to keep practicing on the same technology. Okay. So you can see we got data setters, right? And to make this work, let's try if this is working. Let's see. So compilation done. The moment I say save, it is done. Now, instead of using inject web3, let me just go back to virtual because it will be faster. Click on deploy. So look at this, which contract I'm deploying. I'm deploying alien.sol. And come back here. We got the deployment done. You can see we have so many methods here. If I say get ID, it is 0. Name blank because we have not assigned it. So here I will set the ID as 101. Set the ID, get the ID, that's done. Set the name, I will say Naveen. Set the name, get the name, done. So this is working, right? So the only way to access your variables should be getters and setters. Don't access the variables directly. If you make it public, anyone can access it. We don't want it, right? Now, one thing you can do here is, we have one more concept just to make you understand. We have a concept of constructors. The same way we have in Java, C++, Python, we have constructors here. Now, the only thing is in Solidity, in one contract, you can write only one constructor. I know what you're thinking about. You're restricting it, right? That's right. Sometimes you have to restrict so that it will be working perfectly as it has to be. So in Solidity, we only have one constructor. We don't have multiple constructor. No, we don't even use constructor overloading here. Now, how do we write a constructor? Now, I guess initially Solidity supported a named constructor, but now if you want to get a constructor, you just say a constructor, not even a name to a constructor. Say constructor, that's it. Of course, you can pass parameters here if you want, but we can say constructor. And in the constructor, normally what you do is you assign some values, or maybe if you want to load some data, you can do that. Let's say I want to assign the default value for ID as 100. So every time I deploy this contract, or if I create instance of this, the default value for ID will be 100. Remember when I clicked on get ID at the start, it was 0, but now every time I do that, it will be 100. Let me just show you that. And I hope it will work. Deploy and come back here, get ID, and you can see we got 100. So even if you don't set the value, the default value will be 100. Okay, Prabhakar is saying, what's the use of this button in real time? No use. No one is going to use Remix in the real time. You will be calling these functions from the external world, maybe with the help of some Android application or some website or a web page. So you'll be doing that. This is just for testing purpose, just for learning purpose. Imagine that we are creating a UI here where we have these buttons. Okay, cool. This looks fun, right? We can create a constructor as well. Now, once we understand this, we have one more topic to discuss today, which is how can you call a contract from a contract? Can we do this? Example, in Java, what we do is we create object of one class into other class, like composition. Can we do that here? So let me do one thing. First of all, let me delete this deployment. Let's keep it blank. And let me create another contract. And this contract will be, let's say, if you are an alien, maybe you want to get assigned to a project. So let's create assign project contract. So you can automate this contract basically to assign to this project to some other person. So let's say currently one person is working in a project and then that person leaves the company. In that case, we need to assign that project to someone else. So we can do that here. So let's create a contract and we'll name this contract as assign project. Okay. Now in this, if you want to invoke the alien contract, how do we do it? Can I access basically alien contract here? Now, first of all, if I want to assign, I will create a function which is assign. And in this, okay, first of all, this has to be public. Okay, how do I assign it? So basically, I want to assign this particular any project to a alien, right? How do I access the alien contract here? You can see alien contract is in different file. All these variables are inside this contract. How do I access it here? The first step you have to do is you have to import the contract. The same thing you do in Java. We import the contract or we import the classes. Just a second. So the way, just a second, everyone. Missing the energy. You have to click that like button, which will motivate me, which will excite me. Okay, cool. Energy is low today. Maybe. Doesn't matter. So let's say, let's go back here. I want to import. So basically you have to import this alien. So for that, you have to use a keyword called import. And in the single quotes, just mention, so in the current folder, so dot slash to mention that we have the same folder where we have this contract, and mention the contract name, which is alien.sol. That's it. So the moment you do that, you got your contract in this particular project, and we got the error. Oh, we forgot the semicolon. Yeah, Java. So once you know Java, you can learn other stuff as well. It's very easy. Cool. So now once you created this contract and once you have assigned project, assign, but I want to assign this to a alien, and unfortunately, I can't access the alien data here. So in order to do that, you have to create an object, or you can create a, like we can say object. So we can say alien A1 is equal to new alien. The same thing we do in Java. Yeah, I know we are just relating Java with Solidity, and it's much more easier to work with. Now, once you got the object, I can simply say A1 dot, you can set the values, set ID, set ID. In fact, you don't need to set ID because it is assigned automatically. Remember, 100 value. And then I will assign the name here. I will say Naveen. Simple. Cool, right? We can actually create, we can instantiate a contract inside another contract, and we have done that here. Now my question to everyone is, compilation done there, you can see there is no error in both the files. But if I go back to deployment, which contract I'm going to deploy? As you can see, we don't have any contracts here. So if I go back, which contract should I deploy? If I deploy the assign project, and if I click on, in fact, these two projects are actually, one is dependent and one is independent. The alien contract here is independent, right? You can use it as it is. There's no dependency in this particular alien. But if we talk about this alien project or this assigned project, this will work only when you have the alien contract deployed. So the first thing is you have to deploy the alien contract, and then you have to deploy the assigned project. But then if you directly deploy assigned project, and when you click on deploy, you are actually deploying two contracts at the same time. You're deploying alien as well as assigned project. So let me repeat. When you deploy a dependent contract, which is in this case assigned project, it will deploy both the contracts, alien and assigned project. Deployment done, you can see it here, and you can assign the project and you will assign it. Is it making sense? Yeah, that's right. Okay, Graham is asking, so instead of remix ID, can we use another ID? Yeah, we'll do that. In the upcoming session, we'll try to explore some other options. Okay, I hope you got some idea. In fact, you can make some changes here. Maybe you can ask this to return the value of the alien. So I can say returns of type string, which will return the name of an alien. So I can say return a1 dot get name. Okay, it should be memory. Done. Let me delete this contract. Save, deploy again. And you can see it will, when you click on assign, why is not returning anything? Oh, I forgot to mention view within, to return a value, right? Am I missing something here? Returns. If I want to display it, it will not do it. We can create another function which will return the value of alien. Oh, no voice. It's there. Cool. Yeah, so that's about today's session. I know a lot of things. You have to re-watch this session and practice. So it's not easy. You need some practice. Ooh. A lot of concepts in one day. Nice. No, I'm not compiling it. I was just saving it. We just have to deploy it. So the tab here is actually for deployment, not for compilation. Yeah, but if you make it view, then you can't make a transaction, right? You can't assign it. You can't do any transactions there. You can say it is giving you error. So when you say view, you can't modify the state. Awesome. So we can create separate method which will be useful for viewing. Okay, question from Gokulan. How is the adoption of blockchain technology in India and foreign industries? Have you seen this recent news? Indian government is or central banks are implementing blockchain for their own cryptocurrency, CBDC. So if government is accepting this technology, think about the private sector. Okay, so that's it, everyone. See you in the next session, which is on Monday. And do check out the course which is mentioned on the pinned chat, and also participate in the hackathon, which is free. So that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next live.